Hey everyone, welcome to Comic Book Fanatics, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back. So I started thinking that it's been, I want to do something different. I have not yet done a video on my graded slab comics, so I figured I'd do this one, kind of get it out of the way. Now I don't have that many, of course, but I have a whole bunch right now that are actually at CBCS to get graded. But basically what you see here is pretty much everything I have as far as being slabbed. And I just actually started recently getting my things slabbed and getting graded and what have you. And my point of view is that if I'm going to spend a fairly good amount of money on the comic books, or even at that, if it's a comic book that holds near and dear to my heart and I have some type of nostalgic feeling towards it, I'm going to get it graded and get it preserved. And of course, the ones you see here is the ones I've gotten sent in and slabbed and graded that I have right now. But I want to go ahead and just get this one knocked out of the way. Now, the way I actually have this, if you look off to the left, is all my Amazing Spider-Mans that I've got slabbed, and I have them from the lowest all the way to the highest. And then on the right are just I think my Conan, and I think I also have a Wonder Woman in there, and of course that goes from the lowest to the highest as well. Now you'll see, of course, I don't have very many slab comic books, but you got to start somewhere. And this is something I do recommend to most people out there. If you're going to spend a very good amount of money on a comic book, you got to look at it as an investment, because even if it is something that you love, but if you're going to wind up spending money on it, you take the time to get it slabbed, spend that little extra money on it. Now, all these books that you're going to see right now are all in the raw. I never got them pressed. They basically came out of my collection. I've had them for years, and I sent them into CGC to get it graded and slabbed. So I'm sure that if I took the time to actually get them sent in, to get them pressed and all, then I'm for sure they'll come back as a high grade. However, I wasn't thinking about it at the time. So now I know a little bit more, and thanks to the comic book community out there, learning a little bit more from other people's channels and seeing some of the ideas that they have, most of my books now that I feel like are going to be in raw condition are definitely going to get sent in to get pressed first, then get sent in to get graded. So, but anyways, I'll go ahead and get started. But this is what you see right here on the left side. We'll start, of course, Amazing Spider-Man number 50, and this is a John Romita cover, and this is actually the first appearance of Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, and I actually this came back a 3.5, and I wasn't really expecting a very high grade on this one, being that there's a lot of creases, a lot of ticks. It's just just an old comic that's been in my collection for quite some time, and there's a lot of breaking color on the cover and everything. So not a big deal, but I'm just very happy to have this in my collection. And if you guys don't know, and I think I've talked about this before, that I'm very proud of my Spider-Man collection, because I actually own from number 19 all the way to 700, and that doesn't include the various variants that I have. Okay, this one right here is Amazing Spider-Man number 129. This is the first appearance of the Punisher, Frank Castle, and this is an actual signature series that I've got, and this is signed by Stan Lee. Now, I knew this was going to come back a very low grade. I have some staining up on the top right corner, but besides that, I think the book is in really great condition. It's just the staining on the top right cover that I believe made the grade of the comic go down a lot from what it is. But everything else of the book, it's off-white to white pages, and that is the biggest problem right there. But not a big deal. That was my my copy of 129, but I'll eventually get that one upgraded. But I'm happy that I got Stan Lee to sign it also. Now, this one, a 5.0. This one is Amazing Spider-Man number 25. This is the first cameo appearance of Mary Jane. And you guys know Mary Jane, of course, ends up eventually becoming Peter Parker's wife. This is an older Steve Ditko cover right here, and Steve Ditko being the original artist for Amazing Spider-Man. And then after that, later on, it was John Romita Sr. who took over some of the artwork on that. But it's a 5.0, and so, like I said, I was expecting a lot of these to be low grades anyways, and I just recently received all this back, I think within like last week or so. Okay. Now, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 121. This is the death of Gwen Stacy. Another John Romita cover. Personally, I'm happy with the grade. I already knew this was a little bit beat up, but I'm sure if I wind up getting this this bad boy press, it probably would have went up quite a bit. Because I think, in my personal opinion, looking at the grader's notes, I think a nice pressing would have pretty much taken care of some of the major issues on here. Well, not really a lot of major issues, if you ask me. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man 122. This is the death of the Green Goblin, and this came back a 5.5. In my opinion, like another thing, in my opinion, if just a good pressing probably would have raised this up to more of a fine. All right, this one is Amazing Spider-Man number 128. This is a fine 6.0. This is the first appearance of the Molted Man. Okay, and also has Peter Parker's graduation in there as well. And my apologies about this, about the glare that you have here. You can probably see me moving around, but apologize about that. Hopefully not too bad on your end. 6.0 for Amazing Spider-Man 238. This is the first appearance of Hobgoblin, and I also have the tattoos inside as well. And you'll see some books out there that that have the tattoos in them, and the ones without the tattoos in them. The tattoos are the more sought after ones, but it does not lower. My understanding, it does not lower the grade of the book itself with the missing tattoo. But this is, I think, in my personal opinion, a pretty good book when it comes to the grade on it. Another one I think that could stand a pressing, because there is no break in color on the cover of it, and I don't see any stress or tick marks on the spine or what have you. But once again, you live and you learn, and definitely learn from other people. All right, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 19. This is the first appearance of McDonald Gargan, and this came back as 6.5, which kind of surprised me. I was expecting a lot more of a lower grade on it, but however, nevertheless, it's okay. There is some stamping right over there. It's just a date stamp, August 31, 1964, and the old comic book stores used to do that with their own comic books. So it actually does not affect the grade of the book whenever sent in. So I was not too worried about that. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 700. I got a 7.0 for this one. This is the, of course, the 100th anniversary issue. It's a John Romita and a how do you say his Gyasoa cover. I think another book probably stand a good pressing as well. And Amazing Spider-Man number 101. This right here is the first appearance of Morbius. And if you guys don't know, Morbius is the living vampire. And of course, back then, the comic code authorities would not allow specific things to be in the comic books, and one being a dead vampire or anything dead. I mean, so they wind up bypassing that and calling him the living vampire. So that was their way of kind of getting around the whole comic code authorities. That was pretty cool. Now, this one is Amazing Spider-Man 300. I got a 7.0 for that. No big deal. This is another book I think probably the grade would have definitely gone up if I went and got it pressed. There are no major flaws on the covers. However, there's a I think maybe there's a little bit of some not prints, but some indentations that cause that to go down, because and I see maybe a few spine ticks, but nothing really major. So this one is Amazing Spider-Man 102, and this is the origin and second appearance of Morbius, and it also has a lizard appearance as well. And I got an 8.0 for that one, so I'm okay with that. And this one is another signature series done by Stan Lee. This is Amazing Spider-Man 33. Now this one really kind of blew me away here. I was not expecting to get that much, an 8.0 for this at all, being it as a number 33. And of course, I did nothing to it as far as to get it pressed or anything. But this came back an 8.0. I'm absolutely happy with that. I'm sure if I would have gotten this pressed, this probably would have gone up, I'm sure, probably to a 9. My opinion. Okay. This one is Amazing Spider-Man 252. Now, this ties in with the Marvel team-up of 141, with the first appearance of the black costume. And it has the Amazing Fantasy 15 cover swipe to this. So, if you guys don't know, Amazing Fantasy number 15 is the first appearance of the Amazing Spider-Man, which tells the story of when he gets bitten by the spider and the death of his Uncle Ben, and basically how he became Spider-Man. Okay. So, and I got an 8.0 for this, and I'm happy. Amazing Spider-Man number 194. This is the first appearance of the Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. It came back in 8.5. Another one that I was amazed actually came back at a little bit higher grade than the others, because, like I said, I wasn't expecting that. However, an 8.5, I'm happy with a pressing. Probably could have raised it up to a 9.0, but you know what? No big deal. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. I'm not going to flip this in any other way. This is just for my collection. So, I know in my heart getting it pressed will come back a higher grade. So, but now that's in case, and it's preserved. It's gonna get taken care of in there. Okay, another signature series right here. This one right here kind of disappointed me. I'm going to tell you why. Because this is Amazing Spider-Man number 700, okay, and this is the death of Peter Parker. And this is the last issue of the Volume 1, okay, and then they rebooted it. And now, I got Stanley's signature on this, but it came back at 8.5. I never took it out of the case that it came in, only just to read it. And I was very, very cautious and very careful of how I handled it. Sent it in to get it graded, and it came back in 8.5. I did not understand that. So this one I'm a little disappointed on, because I was expecting a much higher grade for this, being that I barely handled the book. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were having a bad day or something. But okay, so that's everything on my Amazing Spider-Man. And excuse me one moment while I get all of this stuff rearranged, and then I'll move on to the right side. Now, the right side is my Conan the Barbarian, and this one is a 7.0. This is number 1. This is the origin, the first appearance of Conan, and it's also the first appearance of King Cole in a cameo. So and it came back at 7.0. I'm okay with it. And once again, another book, probably could have came back a little higher if it was pressed. This one is Conan the Barbarian number 123. This is the first appearance of Red Sonja. This is actually the first appearance where you see Red Sonja in Conan the Barbarian. Of course, she has her own series as well, but this is where you actually see her on this series, okay? And this came back in 8.0. No problem with that. And Conan the Barbarian number 24. First appearance of Red Sonja. This is actually where she's involved in Conan and on adventure with him, as opposed to the first appearance, which is more, you know, there's a difference between a first appearance and a first full appearance, okay? So just remember that when people are looking for comic books, just like if you know Hulk 180 is the first appearance of the Wolverine, and in basically a cameo, and then you have this first full appearance, which shows him more of what's going on within the book itself. So, okay, and that one came back in 8.5. I'm okay. This one right here is Wonder Woman number 36. This is a variant cover done by David Finch. Now, this one is a really sought after one. I don't really know why. I think the other cover is just as beautiful, to be honest with you. However, I'm assuming that this was a lower print run and a harder one to get, so probably why it went up in price. But if you look at number 36, the newsstand edition, I think it's just as beautiful of how he did the Wonder Woman. Okay, so I apologize about that. I think my camera just kind of had a mind of its own and just decided to go off and said, hey, you know, I think you did enough talking, but it's okay. But anyways, this is the extent of all my books that are slabbed and graded. And I don't know if I got this on the first portion of the video, but I have about 20 plus more that are currently down at CBCS waiting to be graded and waiting to be slabbed. So I'm looking forward when that gets done. A lot of them are actually more modern age comics. So cross your fingers. Hopefully they come back a pretty high grade. And I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Once again, I don't have a lot of high grades, and I don't have a lot of graded books. However, and a lot of them were, as I mentioned before, are in the raw. So, and I know better now, so anytime that I have an older Silver Age or Bronze Age book that I want to get turned in to get graded and slabbed, I'll definitely go get it pressed if it warrants it. Okay? Once again, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you visiting Comic Book Fanatics. If you're a subscriber, I appreciate you guys coming by and checking this out as well. And I'd like to thank all my subscribers out there and anybody who just recently subscribed. I appreciate that. Also, shout out to my boy Ray. Another guy that's on this Comic Book Fanatics site that we both do videos together. So thanks a lot, guys, and I appreciate you for watching.